Hey guys, it's me, Rena from Snarks Crochet, and in today's video, we're making everything green. So since my last video of making everything yellow, I want to kind of continue the train of going through all the colors, and I decided on green, mainly from a conversation with my fiance, which I will skip to.
If you could pick any color of the rainbow, what would it be? That's not yellow.
Green.
Okay, cool.
Green.
Okay.
Green.
Okay.
Verde.
Yes.
Midori.
Yes.
I don't know anything else. Those are the three languages of the earth.
Only those three?
Yes.
English, Japanese, and Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, with the goal of making everything green, I think we should check out my green yarn to see what I have. Okay, so first we have some of this DK weight green yarn. We have this thing right here, which is Line Brand Baby yarn. And then these two are left over from the Sirdar Crochet Along last year for Halloween. I have green plush yarn, well, not plush yarn, green velvet yarn. I got two of these Lion Brand Landscapes yarn, which I think are really pretty. I have this scrap. This is Red Heart Super Soft, which is kind of their Karen Simply Soft version. I don't know. And then I have cotton yarn here. So I have this cotton as well as a bunch back here. And then I have some cotton here as well as some cotton here. And I guess I have this ball of wool right here. So that's kind of all my green yarn. Kind of looking at my room, I actually don't have as much green yarn as I thought I did. I don't know why, actually. I thought I would have a lot more green in here than I actually do. But we're gonna see what we can work with in this video. Last time I had so much yellow that I was like, oh, I want to make this, this, and this. But with the green, I don't actually know what I want to make. My plan on what to do with green yarn is not nearly as concrete as my plan for the yellow yarn. So I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. So far, I only have one idea, which is to make a double-stranded chunky knit beanie. And the thing is, I was debating whether I wanted to double-strand it with this yarn, or if I just double-strand it by itself and just call it a day. I guess for the sake of getting rid of yarn, I could just double-strand it with this. But the thing is, it doesn't really match, so I don't know. I think I will double strand these into a chunky knit beanie. The pattern I use for the beanie is the same pattern I used last time, which is the double stranded chunky knit beanie pattern by Passionate Kelsey. Ooh, this is soft. It's a very easy pattern. I think I want to start with this one, primarily because I actually had to go on a work trip in a couple days, and this is like an easy whip to travel with, which is so funny because in my yellow video I was also traveling in that video, but that one I had kind of planned ahead of time. This one is for work, and they're like, hey, so we actually had budget for you to travel, so we're going to Chicago, guys. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we're going to Chicago. So yeah, I'm going to Chicago in like a couple days for work, and I need something to work on the plane. I'm going to be doing the chunky knit beanie pattern as per usual, and I'll just make that with the green yarn. I think maybe for every single video I have to make at least one chunky knit beanie. I feel like I need to kind of have like a consistent pattern, maybe? I don't know. Every video I make a chunky knit beanie. I definitely left too long of a tail here. Let me trim that real quick. Hey folks, I'm checking in since it's been a while since I last checked in for the green video, but this is how much beanie I had. It's looking kind of cool so far. There is one stitch that is kind of a mess up, but minor details. But this much is what I was able to knit on the plane going to and from Chicago. Primarily because I normally bring my iPad, but I booked a really early morning flight, and so I drove to the airport for the first time in a while, and as I was about to park at the airport, I realized I forgot to bring my iPad. So normally I'm watching shows and knitting or crocheting at the same time, but this time I forgot it, so I just had to sit alone with my thoughts and knit while on the plane. I'm just glad that that plane ride was only an hour because I'm still upset at myself about that. Also on the flight back, we boarded the plane and then it got delayed on the tarmac for like an hour. It was like 3 of us who were on that flight, and then the rest of us in that work trip boarded a later flight, and the people who boarded the later flight got back before us. So that's fun. Anyway, regardless, I'm back in Pittsburgh for now. I'm still working on this knitted beanie. I intend to finish the knitted beanie, but I've started doing some thinking on what I want to do next for this video. In my last video, I made 4 things, and I kind of want to keep it to 3 to 4 things I make for every one of these color videos. But I want to be a little intentional about what I make. When I looked through my green yarn, I realized I mainly had that skein of green as well as a ton of cotton. And so I definitely want to make something with the cotton yarn. And that I am thinking of making one of those granny square tank tops. I do not have nearly enough crochet wearables that I actually wear and keep for myself. So I'd like to make a wearable of some sort, and I'm choosing to make a granny square top. I don't actually have one, so I think I'll get a little creative with it. In a couple of days, I'm also traveling again because both work and personal travel like to creep up on me. So I will be traveling to Seattle this time, and then from Seattle, I'm going to go straight to a work trip and then come back, much to the chagrin of my fiance. But due to the chaotic nature of the travel, I need more plane projects. So I'm definitely going to be working on the beanie. But once I'm done with the beanie, what make? And I remembered as I was clearing off the yarn and packing it up for a move, that I bought 2 of these in the Joann's liquidation sales. No, I didn't buy in the liquidation sale. This is only sold at Michael's. Regardless, I have these. Originally, I would make a 6-day star blanket, but I like the 6-day star blanket and hate the 6-day star blanket since I've already made one. I'd actually rather make a 6-day star blanket shawl instead, but I don't remember enough of the pattern enough to modify it. I'm sure I could modify it. I just don't feel like figuring out how to reverse engineer that. But I did some thinking. I looked on Ravelry for some inspiration of like what to do with this yarn. Looks like a lot of people, in addition to making 6-day star blankets, people actually use this yarn to make some shawls. I have a couple of shawl patterns that I bookmarked for the shawl swap when I was doing some initial research. And so I think I might just make one of those patterns. I think I will go ahead and save one of those patterns, download it onto my iPad, and then reference that while I am on a plane for 5 hours from Pittsburgh to Seattle. That will be the plane project I work on after I finish my beanie. I'm about 6.5 inches into my beanie so far, and the beanie pattern says to do 11 inches. Last time I got lazy and ended it at 10, but honestly, I actually want to do the due diligence of completing it this time. Either that, or I have no choice but to complete it early because I'm playing some serious yarn chicken. Regardless, that's the plan. So, beanie, shawl. That's my course of action. So I ended up finishing the chunky knit beanie for the green video. It's fine, it's cute. I'm going to put this in my to donate pile, which right now is not here, but that's beside the point. Meanwhile, I actually started on a shawl here with the Karen Cloud Cake Perfect Phasing. I think this yarn is discontinued now, I'm not sure, but this is my progress on the shawl so far. This pattern is a free pattern, and I have a feeling with all of these color videos, I'm going to be making a lot of shawls, which is not a bad thing per se. I probably wouldn't make shawls otherwise. Working with this yarn is not my favorite. Like, it's not quite chenille yarn, but it's kind of fuzzy. And my biggest gripe actually is that you can't do a magic ring with it. It's like simultaneously too hard to see, but also too like fragile for me to like do the magic ring and pull it through. So I actually had to do the whole chain 4 like slip stitch method for starting off the triangle, which is kind of annoying in my opinion. I'm about to leave for a trip to Seattle in like a couple of hours, and I have determined that this will be my plane project. So wish me luck working with this yarn on the plane, because when I travel, I tend to just like throw stuff into my backpack and just like tug at yarn as I need it. Like, low-key a little worried about this yarn breaking on me. I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. But I'm going to be making majority of this shawl on the plane. Okay, so on the plane, I got this far on my shawl, and I have about this much yarn left over. I definitely have enough to finish it. So I'm actually at this point now in the shawl where I am debating if I want to do another pattern repeat. There's 31 rows written out, and I'm on like row 20 something, and it's like a good size now, but it technically says, okay, do, you know, when you finish row 31, you do another repeat, and you end right before the 31st row on the repeat, and then you do the border. I should do another repeat on the shawl, but I'm at the point in making a shawl where I really don't want to. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, to be fair, 5-hour flight, I got quite a bit done on it. So, and I definitely have more I could do. So this will definitely keep me preoccupied while I'm traveling and stuff. And I also think I'll get quite a bit done on this trip. So my hope is that I can finish this shawl, you know, before the trip is over, or like at least on the plane back to Pittsburgh. Though I do have a work trip like right after Seattle, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Hey guys, so for the green video, I think I mentioned that I am working on this shawl right here. So I have about this much yarn left in the cake, and I am on the 31st row of the shawl, and this is the decision where I could either stop here, make the border, and call it a day, or I can continue making the shawl. How big is this? Okay, it's like kind of big, but also kind of not big. I feel like this could benefit from another set of repeats, but the issue is that I don't want to do the repeats. Also, I'd have to tie on a new skein if I did want to do the repeats. But I think because my goal for this video is to actually use up yarn, I think I will actually do another round of repeats and then finish the shawl from there. I will say I do like the ombre effect of this yarn. I am never buying the yarn again, but I do like the ombre effect of it. When I was in Seattle, I actually went to a local yarn store in Pike Place and picked up a skein of worsted weight yarn in a green color. And I have a pattern in mind to work on it. So right now I'm actually at a work trip because I literally had to fly straight from my vacation to my work trip, which was kind of annoying. But essentially, because I have about this much yarn left, and essentially the way home is about 8 hours of traveling, I probably will use up this yarn on this trip on the shawl. So when I run out of this yarn, I'm planning on switching to the worsted weight yarn and working on a crochet hat. And the hat pattern I have in mind for that is the Divine hat, which is a free pattern,
And the only reason I'm thinking of this, and also what convinced me to buy this yarn in the first place at the local yarn store, was that when I was, perusing the skeins of locally dyed yarn, there was a sample that they had of that pattern made with variegated yarn, and it looked really cool and also simple to do. So I decided I want to make that. And so I will.
Don't mind my boxes behind me because I got a lot. I ended up finishing a skein of the Karen cloud cake on the plain. I actually ended up starting on the divine hat because of it. But right now, I just tied on the second skein and I'm going to finish the repeats. And then my plan is to finish that second repeat and do the border with the remaining cloud cake. I don't think I'm going to use up the second cloud cake. If I do, that'd be impressive. But this is definitely going to be a pretty decent sized shawl, which is kind of what I wanted. It's so funny because the first repeat, the shawl was not big enough, and then the second repeat, it's going to be large. So I don't really know what I'm going to do. I will say, it is very comfortable. This yarn is very soft and very comfy. I got used to working with it, but I still kind of hate it. Low-key, I am debating if I want to keep this shawl for myself or if I donate it, because it can be either or. It is made out of polyester, so it is machine washable. But at the same time, I want a little comfy little shawl too, so I'm on the fence on that one. Buying the yarn at the local yarn store was a little bit unexpected, and that green hat is definitely going to be part of the green video. But I did say earlier in this video that I wanted to make myself a granny square top, chunky knit beanie, shawl, divine hat, granny square top. Those are the 4 things I want to complete in this video. And I think I'll probably keep the goal at 4 items per any of these videos I make. I will say, as you can see behind me, I recently moved and I really need to be doing an inventory of my yarn at some point. I don't know if this will come out before or after the cleaning and organizing my craft room video comes out, but just letting you know, there will be a cleaning and organizing my craft room video. It will either happen in the future or it will happen in the past as of the release of this video, so just an FYI. Now for the shawl, the first skein I pulled from the center, but this current skein I have to pull from the outside, and I'm not necessarily used to doing that, but it is what it is because that's how the phasing will work. Because if I were to start from the inside with this outside, it's gonna look bad.
Hi folks. Oh, there's a deer outside because I find it be a lot easier to show this off. But look at the shawl. It is so pretty and also huge. This shawl is also very warm. It's kind of chilly right now, so that's perfect. This is like perfect shawl weather, honestly. I have finished the shawl, and now I need to weave in this little end, and then I gotta work on the hat.
Hey folks, so as I'm about to leave for Houston, I want to bring a project for the plane. So I want to get started on the granny square tank top that I keep mentioning. So I picked up my colors already. I want to have these colors. These are from my stash, and I want these colors in there. And then I kind of want them cut with some black. This will be the color scheme for my top. And I'm thinking of doing kind of that simple granny square tank top. I'm kind of more referencing the pattern by Passionate Kelsey. And I'm thinking of kind of, starting with one color and then cutting it with black and then alternating to another color, black, so on and so forth. So that way I can carry the black throughout and not have too many issues and not have to weave in nearly as many ends. So yeah, that's kind of the idea I have. Now with the divine hat that I was working on, I've actually almost finished it off camera. I'm pretty close to done, and I'm so close to done that I'm not going to bring it with me. All I literally have to do is the brim, and that's it. It was a very simple and straightforward pattern, and I kind of just forgot to film it, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. I did have to add a couple extra rows because my tension's so tight, but it's looking pretty cool. I highly recommend the pattern if you want kind of a unique beanie. If you're in the mood for making hats for donation, I think it's like a perfect pattern to... But I think the rest of my footage might just be me making the tank top. Hi, I'm in Houston, and let me show you the progress I got on my top. So I finished most of a panel and started a new panel on the plane. I was pretty speedy. I haven't finished off this panel because it's not quite big enough. However, I decided for the granny square part to alternate between like 3 colors and black, but then I also kind of went from this light color, mid color, dark color, mid color, light color this way. So it ended up using a lot more of the mid color than I anticipated. When I was crocheting on the plane, I just kind of had it beside me and I saw like the cake kind of dwindle down. So I was a little concerned. So I stopped there and started on the other panel just because I wanted to make sure I had enough of that mid color to do the second panel. Because I'm essentially making a size large, so I need more yarn. Like, I wish I could stop here, but I can't. I need to add more rows. But basically, if I make another one of these and evaluate how much yarn I have here, that will determine whether I just continue around and around in just black or if I keep going with the color changes for to get to the size granny square that is my actual size. Surprisingly enough, this was not as difficult to work on the plane as I anticipated. And also the thing I did is that I brought 2 separate skeins of black, so that way this black would go with this panel and then the other black would go with the other panel. So that way I didn't have to worry too much about snipping colors and I could probably work on the panels like all at once. It's a whole thing, but that's the update. I'll check back in when I have more progress done. Little update on the top. So I had done a bunch of like rounds and then got it like pretty big, and then I realized, wait, this is too big for what I'm doing. So I frogged a bunch of rows and I started making the little front of the top. And so this is what I have done. This is the first panel. I'm working on the second panel, and on this I'm planning on doing a more defined front and back, so it's very obvious what panel is the front, what panel is the back. And these are the balls of yarn I had to undo on the panels. Maybe I can use some of these to maybe add like a detailing like single crochet border of some sort to this, but we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm almost done with the top, and I'm actually going to be leaving Houston tomorrow, so this will be my plane project and it will be great. And honestly, I really like how it's turning out so far. It's super cute. Like, I feel like this will be a great addition to my wardrobe. And again, I don't have this type of outfit in general, so it'll be great. I didn't use up any skeins of yarn, but I definitely used up quite a bit of yarn. I had my skeins kind of separated out. These were full originally, and now there's only this much left of the yarn, and I'm definitely going to be using more, so I think I'll probably use up both of these, and it'll be great because that means I'll be 2 skeins down of yarn. Hey folks, I have finished the tank. It's looking more like a vest than it is a tank top, but I'll take it. It's whatever. But let's do a wrap up of everything I have made in this video. I made a chunky knit beanie, a giant shawl, another crochet beanie. By the way, this is the Divine hat. It did turn out kind of cool. It's a little short for my liking. I probably should have added more rows, but I didn't feel like it. It kind of fits. I think it'll fit someone with a much smaller head. The only thing I don't like about it is the ribbing, but I think that's a result of me not making this long enough, but minor details. And this granny score tank top. So with that, I'm going to conclude my video here. If you like this video, leave a like in the comments. Put in the comments below of things I should consider next when I make my next color video. But with that, I will end my video here and see you in the next one. Bye!